Hello, hello. Hi there, Ted.
Hey, Manila, how are you? Long time no see.
It's been a while.
It has been.
Right. It's been a good 5 days, but welcome back. It's good to be back on. So much has happened, Ted, to catch up on this Monday, December 1st, if you can believe it. We're ending 2025. I just like, wow. It's the end of 2025, folks.
It's weird.
And probably end of the world, maybe.
Maybe.
Threat of nuclear war is never off the table.
Thank God for that.
You know. So I'm Manila Chan. That over there is Ted Rall. You are tuned into the Ted Manila Information Show, TMI show for short, because we just always spew out too much information. Sometimes it's stuff you don't want to hear about, but probably should hear about. We're live Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern time, so please be sure to hit the like button, that thumbs up, this thing. Hit that button. Share our content. Follow us. If you're in the financial position to do so, especially on Rumble, think about being a $5 a month monthly subscriber. It goes a long way to help our little show continue to pay the bills. At least pay the bills to keep this little tugboat going. That would be nice because we enjoy being here with you too. I think that's fair to say, right, Ted? We enjoy it.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why do it?
Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, that's before we even earned a penny, we were doing it because that's what we do. Somebody's got to tell you the cold, hard facts, the truth, right? Because you're not going to get it on TV. So, yeah, we appreciate you all being here. Hope everybody if you're celebrating anyway, hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Ted, I think you're traveling. I hope you saw your son.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, good. I had a big family here at the house. I hosted, and as predicted, Ted, even though everybody complimented the turkey, and I'm not, people know not to bullshit me, and I'm happy with the way the turkey turned out, but nobody fucking likes turkey.
I know. I fucking hate turkey.
People
who are like, I love turkey. If you loved turkey, then why aren't you eating it all year long? It's not illegal.
Right.
It's not like eggnog. Like, I love eggnog, but you can't get you can't get eggnog in February, which is good because I'm like addicted to it.
Really?
But like, it's like, it's like crazy. I could just like drink gallons of eggnog and grow to fantastic size. Like it's a problem. Those I've been thinking about this. Eggnog and popcorn. There's no limit to the amount of popcorn I could eat in one sitting. I could eat like 3 giant buckets of popcorn. 4, 5. I could just keep going and then like feel gross.
So you would be one of those people that likes the gift of those big tins of the like 3 kinds of popcorn: the cheddar, the regular salted butter, and the caramel?
No, because I only like buttered salted popcorn.
Oh, okay.
I don't want the caramel. Don't want it.
You don't like Cracker Jack and stuff like that? See?
No, it's too sticky.
Really?
It's too. I don't like anything that sticks in your teeth.
Huh. I like popcorn, but I couldn't sit there and eat whole tubs. But the turkey thing.
But turkey's not like people say they like turkey, and I'm like, but you could, like I said, you can go into a deli and get
sandwich with turkey. Yeah,
you want. But people don't really. You can talk to people who run delis. They'll tell you. Turkey's like not that popular.
No, it's way overrated as like a whole meal. Like So I will tell you, after spending like 6 or 7 hours like basting that fucking thing and breaking my back and pulling open a 350-degree hot oven every 30 minutes to baste it.
Not worth it.
I remember why I hate it. Even though it turned out good, it's not worth it because I agree. I was like, it turned out good. I'm happy with it. But would I feel better mashing like a really good lasagna or something?
Fuck yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, you would. Or spaghetti and meatballs, or a fucking steak, or anything.
Oh yeah, like maybe prime rib.
Yeah.
Like, why are we doing fucking prime rib Thanksgiving?
New York strip? Are you kidding? You're gonna go crazy for that.
Yeah,
of course.
Like if you're gonna go all out for a big meal, why make it this big, ugly fucking bird that takes forever to cook, and no one ever really likes it.
Yeah, makes no sense.
I think next year I'll splurge maybe on prime rib, because
You
that's
know,
a treat.
or the traditional alternative for people who go that way is ham, and I definitely prefer ham to turkey.
But wouldn't that be more like Easter or even Christmas? Like a spiral ham at Christmas?
Yeah. Well, we have stories to do. So we had a lot of shit happened over the weekend. So
anyway,
5
well,
days.
plus I know a lot to catch up on, but we dwindled it down to 4. Well, really, a couple news topics and a couple evergreens that I think social things that we should talk about. So we'll hop to it. I heard you and Robbie talking about this on Deprogram, and welcome to all the deprogrammers. So we'll kind of piggyback off of the DC Natty Guard shooting and the whole immigration conversation. So let's hop to it. All right. So as I said, we're just going to get you up to speed. I'm sure the whole world has heard about this at this point. So that chilling ambush, not too far from the White House, actually very close, steps away from the old Sputnik radio station where Ted and I both worked.
Yeah, very close.
I mean, steps, like literally, like you can walk to where
you can walk on your hands and knees, like right there.
Yeah, and be fine. It's right there. So I know exactly where this was. That ambush on November 26th, 2025, claimed the life of 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom, a member of the West Virginia National Guard, and critically wounded another member, 24-year-old Andrew Wolfe. So 2 very, very young people. Wolfe is fighting for his life right now. Authorities have arrested 29-year-old Afghan national Rahmanullah Lakanwal, who allegedly carried out that shooting in a brazen midday attack. Prosecutors have upgraded charges against him to first-degree murder, with additional counts including assault with intent to kill. The FBI is investigating that incident as a potential act of terror. Beckstrom and Wolfe had only recently joined a D.C. deployment under President Trump's crime emergency initiative to assist local law enforcement, being deployed to Washington, D.C. On Wednesday afternoon, as the pair patrolled near the Farragut West metro station, they came under fire in what prosecutors described as a targeted ambush. Beckstrom's death, announced by Trump on Thanksgiving evening, was met with grief and outrage across her West Virginia home community. West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey ordered flags flown at half-staff while hundreds gathered for vigils and memorial services praising her character and sacrifice. The suspect, Lakanwal, arrived in the U.S. in 2021 under a refugee resettlement program for Afghans post-withdrawal. You guys remember that, the whole thing with the big airplanes leaving leaving Bagram, was it? And people hanging on to the wheels and tires, just crazy. So prompting the Trump administration to immediately halt asylum processing and Afghan visa issuance. The tragedy has intensified a broader political debate over refugee vetting and national security during a period of heightened Guard deployment in multiple cities. In the wake of the shooting, officials announced plans to strengthen cooperation between Guard troops and local police officers while on D.C. Metro patrol. Meanwhile, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth pledged to send 500 more Guard units to the district, even as critics warn the open-ended mission blurs the line between military and law enforcement roles, a long-standing legal and constitutional concern. As investigators continue to probe the motive and possible terrorism ties, the nation is left grappling with 2 harsh truths. Even in a city under heavy military patrol, American soldiers are not immune, and one rogue immigrant's violence is triggering a sweeping crackdown that many may feel. So, Ted, at first there was all kinds of mixed information about the young woman that died, Sarah Beckstrom.
Yeah, well, she was reported alive, then dead, then alive again, then dead again.
Then it was reported that she was an orphan. Then she was reported to not be an orphan. Then it was reported that only her dad was alive and that her mom had died. So that part's still not clear, but I do know that her dad for sure is still alive because he's now speaking out. But when I first heard, like, the way Trump speaks in weird I don't even know if it's prose exactly, but the way Trump speaks is weird. And when he gave remarks about announcing her death, he said that she's with her parents now. So either that meant both her parents were with her physically as she passed away, or that
Right.
she joined her parents in heaven. It could have gone either way. So
Yeah, I can't even. I don't
no,
know what he was thinking. Yeah.
no one even knows because Trump. I don't know. I don't know how he doesn't even speak like a regular New Yorker because it would be like more straightforward, more like
Sure.
to the point. Um, I mean, you're a New Yorker. All the New Yorkers I know are just straight to the point. The way Trump speaks, I don't know. So we're still learning more about her family. But as soon as I heard that, I thought, Ted, oh my God, false flag psyop. Because as soon as it came out that this guy was a CIA, you know, operative in Afghanistan, right? That obviously he's been like brainwashed over there, right? He's some part of some elite unit or
Yeah.
whatever they call them, the zero.
AKA up to no good.
Yes,
AKA corrupt, murderous,
right.
evil. I mean, we got to
So
say it. It's true.
he's whole, Clockwork Orange style, like pulled open, like brainwashed by the CIA goons. And and yes, I'm gonna wear a tinfoil hat here and say that it's almost like pressing a trigger button somewhere, like just and you can send a guy off like that, whether it's PTSD or whatever. You could send him off the cliff um, to go mow people down at the
Sure.
ready. So we don't know. And I thought this, okay, here's the perfect opportunity, false flag. And this is how Trump is going to fully shut down the borders, shut down the refugee program, shut down all legal immigration processes in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, within hours after he announced her death, non-death confusion thing, of course, he announced right away that he was going to do just that. That he's going to pause all immigration, legal immigration coming through. Um, and so that's still up in the air right now. And then Pete Hegseth coming out to say, now we're going to send 500 more troops into DC
What could
when
go wrong?
a federal judge just struck that down and said that they need to leave DC. So this is going the DOD is directly butting heads with a federal judge. So I don't know where we go from here, Ted. This is I just want to stay out of the city. I just don't want to be there.
Yeah. No, I hear you. It's extremely distressing how this administration really never wastes an opportunity to exploit the most horrific things that happen. I mean, and the blame game here is off the charts. Donald Trump, in his administration, not him personally, formally admitted the murderer here, the alleged murderer, to the United States. It happened this April. He got into the U.S. Under Biden last year, but his legal
No,
status was codified this year.
but he got in. He came to the U.S. He hit ground in 2021.
Right, but the point is, his asylum application was initially approved by Biden, but formalized in April of this year. So the point is, both administrations are responsible for this guy being here legally. It's not surprising that a former Afghan traitor who worked for the U.S. occupation regime in Afghanistan would be admitted to the U.S. We let a lot of our former flunkies and lackeys into the U.S. I mean, I think, as usual, we're missing the point here, which is what seems to have happened here is that a guy who saw and did terrible things in war and in occupation snapped, lost his mind, and then apparently his commanding officer died recently, and apparently he plunged into depression, and that's what triggered this incident. It doesn't appear to have been particularly political. It just manifested in a political way. And, so again, what we really seem to be dealing with here is PTSD, and it hasn't been addressed.
Oh, for sure. There's so many layers to all of this, but I knew right away when that news broke that whether it was a deliberate, a false flag attack or whether it was just an opportune one, that the Trump administration was going to move immediately to stop all legal immigration. And of course, Robbie's giving me the background, the thumbs up in the background, even legal ones, which, you know, that in and of itself is a whole show, Ted, that we can talk about, like the pros and cons of even legal immigration. But
sure,
that's for another day. Maybe a Rumble Premium we can talk about that, because there have been historical pauses that the U.S. has had. We've had caps on immigration, but
many
look,
times.
if you talk many times. So if you talk about vetting of people, or what, there's no way to vet people coming from war-torn countries that, by the way, it's really that the U.S. wrecked, right? The U.S. wrecked Afghanistan. So if there's no way for them to set up a proper, any kind of infrastructure at all, right? We've blown them back into the Stone Age. And then we go and say, after 20 years of occupation, and go and say, oh, well, that shithole country doesn't have any proper paper trail for us to properly vet them. Well, gee, why don't they have a proper medical system there for us to ask for medical records, or a governmental system to ask for records? Like, was this kid in and out of juvie when he was 14? Is he orphaned? Did the war kill his parents or his brother or his sister? We don't know anything about this guy for sure. It's all whatever on the ground intel has told us about his background. And his cousin Hamid over there down the street's like, yes, nice boy, very nice boy, like, that's all we know. So I would say, if we don't have more military adventurism, guys like him wouldn't be here in this country under a refugee. They wouldn't need to be refugees.
Well, and there's a question: to what extent does the United States, as an occupying power, have a responsibility for its goons, lackeys, and thugs that once our adventure and our occupation ends and we run away with our tail between our legs, do we owe these people? Sometimes we cut them loose. You're Laotian, you know this story. It's like, it's like, we did allow some to come here, but not very many. And we didn't take care of most of them. To say the least, right? Basically, I don't know. I also think it's also funny that the idea, like, well, someone has a leg up because they're a military veteran, especially a military veteran who worked in an elite unit. To me, that makes them more dangerous. Let's say the quiet part out loud. A disproportionately high number of mass shootings and acts like this have been carried out by veterans of the U.S. or other aligned armed forces. These are people who are familiar with guns. They have PTSD. They lose their fucking minds, and they're dangerous. The average schmo, like Venezuelan fisherman, is far less dangerous to the American. You'd have a better shot at them integrating into American society and not causing trouble than a veteran, And I know people are like, they appreciate veterans and their service and all that, but the fact is, veterans be dangerous.
Yeah, there's not that long ago, I'm sure I can still dig it up. I have notes on it somewhere because I was discussing this topic, but locally, like where I live in Northern Virginia in Fairfax County, there, you may remember, Ted, back in 2021 when the Afghan nationals got sprinkled throughout the U.S., a lot of them were brought here to Northern Virginia, to Fairfax County.
Yeah.
And so since 2021, so roughly 4 years, it was on local news. I'm surprised it didn't make national news. But another guy similar to this shooter, here in Fairfax County, he was pulled over, and I've seen the body cam. It's awful. He was pulled over for like speeding or doing a California rolling stop or something, a minor traffic infraction. The dude, long story short, gets shot and killed by the cop that pulls him over, but he drew a gun on the cops. Turns out he was a guy like this, like Lakanwal, like this shooter, this alleged shooter. he too worked with the United States military and was brought
Mm,
here on the refugee resettlement program. But he drew on the police officer that pulled him over. He didn't get to squeeze the round off, but the officer tagged him first, double tapped him first and died there on the side of the road. But it could have been a shootout. It could have been a much worse story. There's
sure.
no idea. Nobody knows where this guy was going, but he was out of work, had multiple kids. He and his family made it here because they worked with the U.S. military in Afghanistan. But you could hear him in his final moments talking to the police officer in the body cam, saying that he's pissed off that the U.S. brought him here, broke his country. He's out of work, his kids. He's just trying to make ends meet. Let me go. Like I'm just trying to fucking drive. That's broken English, but that's basically what he was saying. And then he fucking draws on the cop.
Fucking insane.
And so he had a moment. He snapped because he's like stressed. He's getting pulled over. He's, but it sounds like he had a similar background to this guy that killed the National Guard girl.
Yeah.
So what do you do with those people, Ted? We abuse them in their country.
Yeah.
Whether they're traitors or not, that's not the conversation. The point is we used them.
Yeah,
but then what do we do with them?
Well, I mean, the truth is, like, Manila, you're right. There's no way to be sure, right? I don't care. Whenever you're dealing with human beings, it's like, honestly, it's like you get a dog from the shelter. It looks cute. It's adorable. You use your instincts. Hopefully you bring it home and it doesn't eat your child.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, so basically, the screeners do their best and they hope for the best. But the fact is, every single person you allow into the United States represents a potential threat to the safety of the public. This is no exception. Now, I would say, again, that a member of the military is a higher than average threat. That does not mean any particular member of the military is, but on average, if you don't know anything about people, if you're just generalizing by group, these would be people would be low on my list of people to admit to the U.S. I mean, I'm just saying, but it's also, there's the question of like putting these National Guardsmen in harm's way for no reason. I mean, This isn't Katrina. This isn't like they weren't sent there into Western North Carolina to help flood victims. They're there for no reason. Nobody wants them there. The authorities in the District of Columbia have gone to court to get them removed. Okay, so you're putting people in harm's way who are also, by the way, not even being sent to dangerous areas in D.C. So you're basically
downtown.
You're having them walk around and they're sitting ducks. I mean, honestly, if you're this woman's like relative and you're being told like, make me understand why my sister died. I don't know if I'm President Trump and I call the family to express my condolences. Can I really say she was making the city safer? She was protecting her fellow Americans? No, you really can't say that. You literally can say she died for no fucking reason whatsoever.
Yeah. I just wish Lakanwal had thrown a Subway sandwich at her.
That would have been better. No question about it.
We were really trying to propagate that into a thing, Ted. All right, we got to get to our first ad before we move on to the next story. All right. I think it's already up. All right. So if you haven't already, make sure you download the Rumble app. It's free, simple to use, and the best way to stay connected to the content you want. Once you've got it, search for this channel here and hit follow. That way you'll get a notification every time we go live. No missed shows, no extra steps. You can grab it right now using the link in the description or the pinned live chat. You'll see it right there if you're in the Rumble chat. Download it to your phone and you're ready to go. And if you prefer watching it on the big screen, Rumble is available on all major streaming devices and smart TVs. Just search for Rumble. Follow the channel and be part of the action. I watch it. Well, I have it both on my smart TV and my phone, so I can catch all. I don't really watch TV anymore. Everything's kind of on Rumble when I watch anything. All right, let's hit the Jaws, and then we'll go to Ted's. Ted, we're trying a new thing. I'm going to hit the Jaws in between each story because it makes it easier to cut. And I'm curious
okay.
how the AI will chop it up when we do our shorts. So I think it
Oh,
might be
okay.
easier. So
Okay.
we're gonna try that.
Although we're going to be doing fewer shorts, but we'll be talking. That's part of the topic that we'll be talking
Ah,
to Robbie about
okay.
after the show. Okay.
Okay, let's hit the jaws.
In a stunning political gambit, Israeli Prime Minister and war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu has asked President Isaac Herzog for a full pardon in his long-running corruption trial, even though the trial is still going on. Legal experts say the move is unprecedented. Critics say it's a direct threat to the rule of law, and even President Herzog himself called it extraordinary. The request came 2 weeks after Trump sent Herzog a letter urging him to end the trial right away so that he and Bibi could hang out and continue advancing shared interests like bowling and billiards. Netanyahu seized on that endorsement, arguing that the demands of wartime leadership make it, is it really a war if you just bomb people, civilian people who are not shooting back at you? Is that a war, really? But anyway, it's a turkey shoot, really. Make it impossible for him to appear in court 3 times a week. He's too busy. It's too busy. I'm too busy genociding. I can't come to court 3 times a week. But dude, you could genocide by cell phone. Anyway, ending the trial, he claims, would heal divisions in Israel after 2 years of war. Few people are buying it. Netanyahu's been on trial for bribery, fraud, and breach of trust. Breach of trust, he's a politician. I mean, anyway, okay, whatever. Since 2019, accused of trading regulatory favors for luxury gifts and media coverage. He denies all wrongdoing, casts the prosecution as a deep state, politically motivated attack, like Trump. But Israel's legal scholars warn that pardoning a sitting prime minister before he's convicted would shred equality before the law. The president of Israel, Herzog, typically grants a pardon only after you're convicted and you express remorse, neither of which Netanyahu is offering. Not to mention, I don't think he has remorse as like in his toolbox. Instead, he's asking the president to bypass all usual procedures. Opposition leaders are up in arms. Yair Lapid said a pardon without guilt or resignation would be unthinkable. Former military chief Gadi Eisenkot and Benny Gantz blasted the request as a distraction from Netanyahu's deeply unpopular judicial overhaul and a new bill expanding military service exemptions for the ultra-Orthodox. Even allies admit that this move would be divisive ahead of the October elections. Herzog will now go to the Justice Ministry, the equivalent of the DOJ, before making any decision to ask them what they think. That decision will redefine Israeli democracy and determine whether any leader stands completely above the law.
Democracy. They still call it that, Ted? They're still running with that one?
It's hilarious. Like, well, it's a democracy if you don't count the, 40% of the people under your control who are not allowed to vote. But okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, well, I mean, Ted, it is 2025. We're almost in 2026. As we've seen with Ukraine, defending Western democracy means you cut out all media except the state-controlled ones, right?
Yep.
You get
cancel
rid of
your elections.
All elections, all political parties. So I would say Ukraine set the stage in 2022 about what the definition of democracy is. So maybe, Israel is jumping on that. And I also think, Ted, I think you have a misunderstanding about Netanyahu's, need to be there to witness or lead the genocide firsthand. Like you need to be there. You need to physically be there, Ted, because it's, there's no replacing it. It's like being at the Super Bowl. You can't watch it on TV.
You're saying you got to be active and you be fully engaged in your genocide.
Yeah.
No half-assing.
No, you can't call it in from court. You can't tell, your general to like, bro, FaceTime me. I'm stepping out. I'm telling the judge I'm going to the bathroom. FaceTime me. You can't do that. You gotta be there, on the sideline so you can watch the whole genociding in person. But I do think, Ted, I think Bibi knows that for one reason or another, whether he's not genociding enough for one faction of Israelis, right? So there's that.
That's
There's
true.
the other side. There's a small minority that hate him and his wife because of whatever different political issues. Um, and then there's the handful that are really pissed off about the whole judicial thing, and then the faction that's all pissed off about the Orthodox thing, right? The exemptions that they've traditionally had. But at any rate, nobody in Israel likes Netanyahu, and he knows like the war or whatever you want to call it is coming to an end, which means he and his wife are back up for grabs for these corruption scandals. His wife too, like she's
dirty
done,
too.
She's done as much shopping as Mrs. Zelenskaya, Mrs. Zelensky. I think they go shopping together in the Champs-Elysees. So, those two ladies, we talk a lot about Zelensky himself, and we say how beautiful his wife is, but she's not free of scandal. Somehow she's escaped all of it, just like Netanyahu's wife has escaped much of the overseas scandal about her corrupt behavior. So I'm going to say, if your husband be corrupting, you be corrupting too, bitches.
Yeah, almost impossible not to be, right? I mean, yeah.
For sure. Absolutely. So I think that's, he's trying to wrap up. Do you think Herzog gives this to him? I mean, completely unprecedented.
No, I don't think so. No, I mean, the president of Israel is a pretty ceremonial position, right? Mm-hmm. And basically, it's not like the president of the United States. The PM is the real power. But basically, the president of Israel is supposed to have sort of a high, upstanding, moral, supervisory role in society. He's supposed to be above it all. And, his personality so far has indicated that he's not the kind of guy who's going to let this happen. He's going to be like, this is going to be bad even if I pardon you, you're going to have to go through the conviction and you're going to have to say you're sorry. You're going to have, otherwise I'm not going to stop your trial.
Bibi's asking for a pre-pardon like Biden was doing.
He's literally asking for the trial to stop before he's convicted.
Right.
To me, that indicates that he thinks he's going to be convicted. He and his attorneys must not think it's going well.
My brain did not even process. I read it, but my brain didn't process it. You're right. This is like Biden pre-pardoning Hunter.
Yeah, it's exactly like that.
Yeah, because you don't want discovery to happen and have all the dirt come out.
Well, and more to the point is you're hoping not to have that conviction on your record, right? So it's like better, and I mean, think about how, by the way, just parenthetically, how busy we are, that like the Fani Willis stuff went away over the weekend and we didn't even talk about it.
Well, there's so much. Like like Trump is that's not a pardon though. Trump is.
But think about how many hours we spent talking about fucking Fani Willis.
Yeah, but it's more fun talking about her with her Alizé and Grey Goose parties with her married lover and whatever. I don't think she's married. I think he was married though. I think, right? I think that was the case. But anyway.
She wasn't. He was, he's the, well, I guess he was technically married. He was married on paper, but, they hadn't been together for many years.
Oh, well, that's okay.
I don't know.
It's
not really like cheating. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's not, no, that's, well, then it wasn't that douchey. It was only douchey in the corrupt way and not in like a moral, that kind of moral.
The thing was pretty douchey though.
That's douchey in a different kind of douchey. I don't mean like she's a homewrecker douchey. No, at least she's not a homewrecker. So, okay. Fani Willis, please accept my apology. I called you a homewrecker. You are not a homewrecker.
She's a financial skank, not a.
Yeah. Please accept my holiday apology. You are not a homewrecker. I'm sorry I called you a whore. I'm sorry. My bad. Okay.
See, you could be pardoned. You've expressed remorse.
Yeah, I because I'm not a narcissist, Ted. I'm not like Netanyahu over here, like not, and before we move on and hit the jaws again, big shout out to our buddy Ray in the Rumble chat for the donation. Ray is always super generous. Ray shares his He gives like free memberships every month. Like he's super
We
generous.
love
Thank you
Ray,
so much,
and
Ray.
we need
We
Ray.
do love Ray. Most appreciated, Ray. And to Sir Bikes a Lot for that donation. And Sir Bikes a Lot says, James Lee 5149 said that there was a Google search for the DC shooter name before the shooting. The same with Charlie Kirk's shooter. I don't know how to explain. I'm not an algorithm pro, obviously. I'm not a tech pro, but I have heard about how do you explain people searching an event before it happens, which lends credence to my tinfoil hat theory.
Well, if that's true. I mean, these reports usually turn out not to be true. Like, for example, all the Jews left the World Trade Center before 9/11. Like, there were no Jews working there. I've heard that a million times. That's just not true. Or, no one's ever seen, metal burn in a building. Yeah, that's not true. I mean, the point is you hear a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd have to see, I would need to see Google itself publish its data analytics of top searches, let's say 24 hours before the DC guard shooting.
Yeah.
I would have to see
that would be fucking fascinating if true.
Right.
If true. Yeah.
But I would need to see it from the horse's mouth. And I would reserve 1% skepticism because, as we know from the Twitter files a couple of years ago, that big tech colludes with big government. So I would reserve a little bit of skepticism still, but I would feel better. I would feel better if I saw an actual report from Google saying, DC National Guard shooting was a subject being searched for before, I'd need to see that. But
for sure.
It's possible. I heard that about the Charlie Kirk thing too. So I'd like to see the reports, but I don't think Google's going to give that to us. All right, Jaws it. All right, here's one that creeps me out, Ted. Okay, so a Missouri magician and molecular biologist. Ladies, pay attention. They're out there. A magician and molecular biologist just learned the hard way that turning yourself into a human cyborg is all fun and games until you forget the password. Z Teng Wang, known by his stage name as Z the Mentalist, implanted an RFID chip between his thumb and forefinger. So right here in that squishy region.
As one does.
He implanted an RFID chip there so he could pull off a slick, futuristic magic trick. At first, it held a Bitcoin address. Later, he rewrote it to point to a meme. It's like you could put your phone over it and he could, oh, look at that. So lame. Then the meme link went dead. Then he had to update it, Ted. Because it wasn't his own meme. It was somebody else's meme. And he realized he locked himself out of the chip. Yeah. Oops.
Oh my God.
The man literally forgot the password to the technology that he chose to install in his own body. When Mr. Wang reached out to tech-savvy friends for help,
he didn't have that hey, what are the, what was the name of your first pet?
Right, or it's not written in some notebook somewhere or a diary somewhere. So Wang reached out to his tech friends, and the response wasn't very encouraging. The only workaround, they said, would be a brute force attack, hooking an RFID reader to his hand for days, maybe weeks, cycling through endless password combinations. The other option, a minor surgical removal. Hardly the sleek sci-fi image he was going for, Wang summed up his situation with painful accuracy. Quote, "I'm living my own cyberpunk dystopia life right now, locked out of technology inside my body, and it's my own damn fault." That's what he posted to his Facebook, his public Facebook. Beyond the comedy, there's a warning here, folks. As tech companies push deeper into implantable devices and brain-computer interfaces, think Elon Musk's Neuralink. Wang's misadventure shows just how fragile enhanced humanity, that's what they're calling it, Ted.
Oh
Enhanced
God,
humanity
what a name.
can be. Servers go down, companies fold, software gets outdated, and occasionally people forget their own password. So for now, Mr. Wang is stuck with the high-tech implant that he can't access and a story that he'll never live down. The magic trick has officially become the punchline. Wah, wah. So
I really do have to say I have some sympathy for this guy, even though he's a retard, because first of all, I can imagine myself doing something like that. Not the implant, but like, setting up a password and then forgetting it because I just never use it or whatever. I mean, think about, for example, if you think that you wouldn't do that, think about all the people you call and you used to know their phone number. But you put it into your phone and now you just hit their name and now you don't really know their phone number anymore. You couldn't call them from the street if you had to, or borrowing someone else's phone. It's the same principle. I mean, a lot of these passwords are sort of stored automatically. Like think about like your Apple ID if you have an iPhone. You'll hardly ever use it, right? And do you remember it? I mean, I think a lot of people have trouble remembering that because they don't use it very often.
yeah, I remember that. I have to go in there all the time because I set up, it's because I have a kid that uses the technology that I have to approve things on, so I have to sign in. That one I do. But phone numbers that I used to be so good at remembering phone numbers, and obviously now I'm not.
Well, because you don't need to be.
No, you don't need, because we've exported our memory into this external appendage, right?
That's right.
And that's as much tech reliance as I'm willing to live on. As you know, I'm always talking about, like, I would rather live an analog lifestyle. I mean, Ted, you and I had Gen X really was the last generation to have the luxury. I'm going to call it the luxury of tech-free childhood and even young adulthood. I mean, I didn't have a cell phone until I was in college. So I became a young adult without it.
Yeah, I think I got mine. I was definitely in my mid-30s when I got a flip phone the first time.
Yeah. So, I mean, because that's our you're at the top end of Gen X and I'm at the baby end of Gen X. So that's the right time frame. When I was in college, you'd have been a grown adult, maybe early, somewhere in your early 30s when I was 20.
Well, what year were you in college?
99.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I was 36 years old.
Yeah. But I didn't get, I think, my first flip phone until like 2000, maybe, right? Like there was, and
I think it was the late 90s for me. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, when it became a little more accessible, but we had, I'm going to say, the great luxury of growing up analog and the brain power that's required. And I think it's a good thing to have the brain power required to live analog, right? Like people remembered street addresses, how to get to places, because otherwise I don't know if you guys use this on the East Coast, but we used on the West Coast, the big book, the Thomas Guide. It's like maps.
No, we had Hagstrom's.
Hankstrom's? I don't know.
Hagstrom.
Yeah, Thomas Guide for the West Coast.
Yeah, that's a very famous. Yeah, for the West. That's right.
Yeah, West Coast. Like you can drive up and down the entire West Coast using just the Thomas Guide. But I think things were better then, and now, like, we're gonna try to implant tech into our bodies. Look.
Oh well, we are. I mean, I will say there's one argument that I can make in favor of it.
Don't say Dick Cheney, then we can live forever like Dick Cheney.
No, not at all.
Somebody turns off your heart.
God, he's the argument against it. The medical, like putting medical data. So for example, my cat Clovis is he has a chip, like many dogs and cats.
Yeah.
So in case he's lost and picked up by animal control, people will say like, oh, like he belongs to Ted Rall, right? And it has my phone number and address in there. Okay, so the point is, like, you could put that in a human being, and it could say like, oh, this person's diabetic, this person is allergic to penicillin. And then if they're found, and then first responders would have that, could scan you and have that information immediately available.
You can get that with the old people bracelets.
Yeah, but okay, that's true.
But not implanted into your flesh, like that's.
Okay, but like a bracelet's easily lost, forgotten, Yeah,
if you wear it like the way military guys wear their dog tags when they're out in the field. When you wear, I used to have one of those.
Also, it's like only, as you say, only old people do it. So it's like, what about young people? What about kids?
Yeah, I know. I personally don't even like wearing. I don't like wearing jewelry. I wear a wedding band, and that's it. So, I don't know. I don't know what would be on your person. I don't know. That's a hard one, but I certainly don't want an implant because then I feel like that's something they can track you with, like your car with the thing that we have in the windshield. What's it called? It's not a West Coast thing. It's an East Coast thing. The speed. No, that's not what it's called. What is it called? The transponder. The transponder in your car.
That records how fast you were going or like what direction.
Where?
It's basically like a data recorder inside your car, whether you like it or not.
Fast track. That's what it's called.
You mean to pay tolls?
Yes.
Okay. So, or Easy Pass in the Northeast. Yeah.
Easy Pass. That's it. Because California started adopting that a few years ago, and we called it Fast Track. But here on the East Coast, yes, it's called Easy Pass. That's it.
But it's the same thing. Yeah.
So I don't know. Is there something with us all the time that we can put that information in? Is it safe from hackers? I don't want it in my body because everything's hackable. So that's me. All right.
I'm with you on that.
Last topic. Topic. This is a TED topic for sure. As soon as I read it, I was like, oh, this is TED. And this is so TED. I gotta hit the jaws.
Do it. The U.S. is in the middle of an electric bike explosion, pun intended, and the injuries coming with it look less like bicycle accidents and more like motorcycle crashes. And this article isn't even about all the fires that e-bikes cause in buildings. It's what began as a green, affordable alternative to cars has now become one of the fastest growing public safety problems in the United States. Nationwide, e-bike injuries have increased by a factor of 10-fold in just the last 4 years, going up from 2,200 in 2017 to over 23,000 in 2022, according to federal data. Head injuries alone are up 49 times. Even more alarming, while pedal bike crashes carry a fatality rate of 0.3%, e-bike crashes clock in at 11%. So you have like a 1 in 9 chance of getting killed if you fall off your e-bike or run into something. Nearly 40 times higher. Why? You're going faster, the e-bike weighs a lot more, and there's no regulation at all. Most Americans think of e-bikes as bikes plus, but actually they're a lot more dangerous. Class 2 e-bikes, which are popular with teenagers, can hit 20 miles an hour with a motorcycle-style throttle, no pedaling required. Many weigh 50 to 70 pounds, so that doubles the force of impact in a crash. This is like the law of conservation of momentum in physics. And jailbreaking apps, magnets, and tuning kits can push them past 28, 30, or even 40 miles an hour with no license, no training, no enforcement. So you can have like a 10-year-old out on one of these things. The result is chaos on the nation's roads, sidewalks, and school zones. Cops report kids weaving through traffic, running red lights, riding double, and treating e-motos, which are illegal high-powered machines that are hidden and look like, tricked out like regular e-bikes, as toys. States have scrambled to figure out what to do about it. Some cities are banning e-bikes from parks. Universities block them from campus. And New York City, where delivery e-bike crashes have soared, has imposed a 15-mile-an-hour limit on certain routes. California has become the epicenter of the crisis after a wave of deadly crashes, including the catastrophic injury of 15-year-old Amelia Stafford, whose skull had to be partially removed after falling off a throttle-powered e-moto without a helmet. Her surgeon said that her injuries resembled a violent motorcycle crash, not a fall from a bike. Her case fueled new legislation, including age minimums, helmet rules, and bans on speed modification apps for Class 2 bikes. But even with new laws, demand keeps rising. E-bikes aren't just bikes. They're fast, heavily motorized vehicles being used without the rules or training that their power requires. And unless national standards catch up, America's e-bike revolution is steering straight into a public health crisis.
Here's some statistics, Ted.
Let's hear.
I don't know I know a lot of people are probably looking into buying that one for going green, maybe as a gift for Christmas coming up, right? Because Black Friday sales were first time in history to hit like $250 billion in U.S. history. But from 2022, that's the latest data that the U.S. has on it. 1.1 million electric bikes sold in 2022. However, other studies say global sales are expected to reach over 80 million units by the year 2030. The market for e-bikes are already valued at $32 billion in 2025. So it's a big thing. And in California, Ted, I have some of my friends from high school, a couple high school sweethearts. They had 2 kids. Their son, Ethan, died earlier this year from an e-bike accident.
Jesus.
He was 15 years old, riding on in their subdivision. So I don't know if I don't want to ask the details of how this happened. These are people I grew up with who I know very well. But their 15-year-old son there was a car that hit him, but I don't know the details of, was he goofing around? I mean, he's 15, right?
Yeah, I mean, people always assume that, but you never know. Look, I had a friend. We were both 15 years old, and he was riding a moped, and some asshole ran a stop sign and just ran over him. Part of it is that people don't expect to see you. One counterfactual, I was curious about it when I didn't find this in the article. I'm just wondering, so speed differential is a problem also on the nation's roads. And so as a bicyclist, I've often thought I feel safer merging into traffic on an e-bike than I do on my regular bike. I'm an avid biker because let's say I get into traffic and I'm going on an e-bike, I can easily go 25 or 30. Well, nothing's coming up behind me dying to pass. Like, in other words, no one's coming up at 50 miles an hour, slamming on the brakes, or basically coming too close to me. I can take over the lane and basically I become like a car. I can merge in with traffic, and I'm not people aren't coming up on me. You see what I'm saying? If I'm going 10 miles an hour on my regular bike, someone comes up behind me going 40, they're going to be really anxious to pass me. I can't take over. So they usually, most people who drive are assholes. They don't want to cross the double yellow line, even if nothing's coming the other way around. They won't. They won't cross the fucking paint. It's paint on the street. Go around
I'm a person that'll go way around.
Go around the bicyclist. Give the bicyclist the entire lane. Go all the way around them. You don't want to hit them. You don't want to, even if you hate them, you don't want to have to fill out all those forms, and you don't want to live with the guilt and being sued by their survivors, right? So, but people, they try to squeeze past you. It's terrifying to be buzzed by a passing SUV or whatever. So I do think that it feels safer. It's probably based on these statistics that we just talked about. It's an illusion on my part, I'm sure. But I think e-bikes sure be fun, no question. But I think the true reminder here is, I gotta say, e-bikes, the real regulation is you should absolutely have to wear a helmet. You should absolutely probably have to wear knee pads. Absolutely. It should be required. I don't wear a helmet at all when I bike. And I get it. That's my choice. My body, my choice. I fucking hate helmets.
But you're on a regular bike.
On my regular bike, yeah. But you can get killed.
No, I know.
Bike. But the point, and don't do what I do, like wear a helmet. But the point is, I think it should be the law. Like a cop should be able to stop an e-biker if you're not wearing a helmet, because it's true. You're just going so much faster. If you take a fall,
and they're so heavy,
you hit a fucking pothole. You're like, and the thing itself will hit you. I had a minor in Thailand, a very minor wipeout with on a motorcycle, on a very light motorcycle, and like they have there. And even so, I was amazed at like how fucking, you're balanced, and then suddenly that thing is on you, and it's heavy as shit, and and like it's bad. Like I was kind of like scraped up against a guardrail, and so like it wasn't that big a deal really, but it could have been, and so I think the weight it's a concern. Yeah, you have so much momentum. The other thing about the speed is, because it's so heavy, again, I mentioned physics, just in the same way that it takes like a train, like a freight train needs a mile to stop. It's like you literally, if you're driving something that weighs 50 or 75 pounds, it's a lot more time to slow down. You can't stop on a dime. My bike weighs 9 pounds, and I can stop on a dime.
Yeah. These things are getting bigger and bigger, and these e-bikes are north of 50 pounds. North. Yeah. So if you got 50 pounds going at 30 miles an hour, I mean that's going through somebody's windshield, Ted. For sure.
Is. No question.
Something 50 plus 70 pounds, 30 miles an hour. Yeah, good night. So I hope people are very careful, because like I said, this is, my friends, because I have actual friends who lost their 15-year-old on an e-bike just a few months ago. It haunts me. My kid is so far from that age, but it haunts me because this is the technology that's out there, and people just they think of it as a toy. And I'm not casting any blame to, obviously not my friends.
Well, there's no regulation. I mean, like, for example, in New York City, also the e-bikes are terrorizing the regular bikers too, because they're on the same bike path. I'm not sure they really should be. I feel like they should have their own category or be mixed in with cars. I mean, the thing is, it is a really great form of transportation in a city, because you can go, on very little power, really far.
All these Uber Eats drivers.
You can park anywhere. You don't need any room. You don't need and you're not taking up a lot of space. You're not like, imagine all the space a car or an SUV takes up.
Especially in New York City, right? Like all the food delivery guys.
Traffic's not an issue for you.
They are upgrading to these e-bikes, so you're going to see a lot more food delivery.
Oh, they're all on them already. Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, because it beats bicycling to bring you the Uber Eats or whatever, DoorDash or whatever. So anyway, that's that. All right, we're gonna end that right there. Robbie, do we have another ad that we have to get to at all before we say goodbye?
There is no new ad, but I'm glad that you popped me on, because Rumble, they've added a new requirement for the creator program. So we have to do at least 5 raids a month. So I have a question for y'all. Do y'all want me to just raid a random channel, or do y'all want to save those for whenever Putinbot Gaming is going live after TMI?
Putinbot.
Yeah.
We gotta support Putinbot.
We gotta support our own, Robbie. Yeah, so yes, you guys heard there.
Okay. Let's figure out how that's gonna work.
Keep it in the family always.
Yeah, we're gonna try to keep the riches in the family.
There is no ad, so we are good.
Okay, just so the viewers understand, if you get raided into the, we have to do 5 raids per month.
This is only true about Rumble.
Yeah, this is only true on Rumble. That's what's happening. Robbie has informed us. So in the future, please understand that if you stick around just a minute or two till the raid happens, that really helps us reach our metrics, or else we get kicked out of the program.
Yeah, and also helps. True. It also helps the creator that you raid, because I'm glad about this, because it's a way to kind of force people to cross-pollinate, which is awesome.
Yeah, and you get exposed to new stuff. So even if you don't stay for their whole program, at least stay for the raid for a moment, and it helps both parties. So
And if you do, please comment, say hello, drop dead, you're a racist, whatever. It doesn't matter,
Like,
because they
you
track the
racist
comments.
redneck, Robbie.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.
See you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.